Have you ever noticed how the quietest kid in the room seems to carry this weight that feels way older than their actual age? You know the one I mean, the child who never stirs up trouble, never complains, always has a smile on their face, and is always ready to lend a helping hand. Everyone calls them such a good kid, right? But if you take a moment to look a little deeper, you might catch a glimpse of something else, a quiet sadness that often comes with that kind of goodness. It's like they're wearing a mask, and underneath, there's a whole world of feelings they're not sharing. Sometimes, being the good child isn't just a natural trait. It's something they've learned over time. It's a survival mechanism. Imagine this. Every child comes into this world bursting with laughter, curiosity, and genuine emotions. They're like little sponges, soaking up everything around them. But then, as they grow up, they start picking up on the fact that their tears make people uncomfortable, or that saying no can lead to punishment. They realize that their excitement might be seen as too much, and suddenly, they begin to adapt. They learn to shrink themselves down, fitting into a mold that feels safer. It's like they're trying to navigate a maze where the walls are made of expectations. You might see them in school, always raising their hand, but never too loud, always smiling, but never too boisterous. They start believing that love must be earned through silence, compliance, and perfection. And just like that, the obedient child is born. Psychologists refer to this as conditional approval love that feels secure only when you behave in a certain way. It's like a dance, where they learn the steps to keep everyone happy, but at what cost? In these homes, obedience isn't just encouraged. It's almost a requirement for connection. So, the child becomes hyper-aware, reading every shift in tone, every sigh, every look that passes between adults. They learn to predict what others need before anyone even has to ask. Over time, they stop asking for anything themselves. And you know what? That's not maturity. That's emotional camouflage. On the outside, they seem calm, polite, and dependable. But inside, they're aching because every yes they say against their true feelings costs them a little piece of who they really are. And those little pieces, they add up over time. Fast forward to adulthood, and that same child has grown into a person who never says no. They're the ones who take on extra work, even when they're already drowning in responsibilities. They listen to everyone else's pain, but hide their own. They avoid conflict at all costs, even when it feels like they're breaking inside. This person becomes what psychologists call the people-pleaser archetype, someone who ties their worth to how useful, kind, or agreeable they can be. It's not a sign of weakness, it's conditioning. For them, being loved and being good were once intertwined. It's like they've been trained to believe that their value lies in how much they can give, or how well they can fit into someone else's idea of good. But here's the kicker, there's a hidden cost to that goodness. When a child grows up constantly adjusting to fit others' expectations, they lose touch with their authentic self. They learn to edit their emotions, filter their desires, and bury their truth under a polished surface. That buried self doesn't just disappear. It grows quieter and quieter until one day, that adult looks in the mirror and wonders, who am I outside of who I've been for everyone else? That's the invisible grief of the obedient child grieving a self they were never truly allowed to be. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? Imagine feeling like you're always wearing a costume, playing a role, but deep down, you have no idea who the real you is. But obedience isn't always what it seems. Sometimes, it's just a mask for fear of rejection, fear of conflict, fear of losing love. It's a silent bargain. If I stay small enough, Maybe I won't get hurt again. It works. Until it doesn't. One day, that obedience stops protecting you and starts to suffocate you. You follow all the rules, but still feel unseen. You give endlessly, but somehow feel unloved. You hold your tongue, but find yourself feeling disconnected. That's when the system that once kept you safe starts to break you down. It's like being trapped in a glass box. Everyone can see you, but no one really knows what's going on inside. Developmental psychology calls this the false self. It's the version of you that the world has rewarded, the polite, composed, reliable version, but it hides the real you underneath. And even when that false self keeps you functioning, the real self waits, quietly, for a chance to breathe. Sometimes it breaks through in bursts: a painting, a tear, a moment of rebellion, or a voice trembling with truth. Those moments aren't breakdowns, they're breakthroughs. They ray like tiny sparks of authenticity, trying to ignite a fire that has been smothered for too long. Healing begins the moment you realize that your obedience was never your true personality. It was your protection, and now you get to choose differently. You can let yourself exist without permission. You can say no and still feel safe. You can express anger without guilt. You can rest without needing to earn it. This isn't defiance. It's self-reclamation. It's about reclaiming your right to be who you are unapologetically. Imagine if we raised children who didn't have to trade their authenticity for acceptance. Kids who could say, "I'm sad," without feeling ashamed. Who could ask questions without fearing punishment. What kind of adults would they grow into? Probably the kind who know how to love without losing themselves. They'd be confident in their feelings and comfortable expressing their needs. They'd understand that it's okay to take up space in the world. And maybe that's the work we need to focus on now, to reparent that obedient child inside us. To whisper, "You don't have to be perfect anymore. You don't have to keep everyone happy. You're already enough." It's a powerful message, isn't it? One that we all need to hear, especially when we've spent so long trying to fit into someone else's mold. Because here's the truth. The obedient child grows up twice: once when they learn to stay quiet, and again when they finally learn to speak. So, if you were ever that child, always good, always calm, always agreeable, know this: your silence wasn't a sign of weakness. It was strength, just misunderstood. But now, it's time to use that strength differently, not to please others, but to live fully, truthfully, and loudly as yourself. Real goodness isn't about obedience. It's about authenticity. And the world doesn't need more obedient adults, it needs healed ones. Let's embrace our true selves, flaws and all, and encourage others to do the same. After all, the journey to authenticity isn't just about us. It's about creating a ripple effect that can change the world. So, let's start today. Let's celebrate our uniqueness and the beautiful messiness of being human. Think about the last time you did something just for you. Maybe it was painting, dancing, or even just taking a long walk to clear your head. Those moments are pure gold. They remind us that life isn't about fitting into a box. It's about breaking free and expressing who we really are. Let's also take a moment to recognize the power of community. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, who celebrate your quirks and your journey. It's like finding your tribe. When you have a support system that encourages authenticity, makes the process so much easier. You can share your struggles, your victories, and everything in between without fear of judgment. And here's a thought. What if we created spaces where kids could express their feelings openly? Imagine classrooms where kids are taught to share their emotions without fear of ridicule. Instead of just focusing on grades and achievements, we could nurture their emotional intelligence. They could learn that it's okay to feel sad, angry, or confused. They'd grow up knowing that all their feelings are valid, and they wouldn't have to hide behind a mask. Let's also remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. There will be days when you feel like you're backsliding, and that's totally okay. It's all part of the process. Be gentle with yourself. Celebrate the small wins, like saying no when you really mean it, or allowing yourself to feel your emotions without judgment. Every step counts. So, as we wrap this up, let's commit to being kinder to ourselves and to others. Let's encourage those around us to embrace their true selves. The world is a big, beautiful place, and it needs every single one of us to show up authentically. Let's create a culture where being yourself is celebrated, where vulnerability is seen as strength, and where everyone feels free to express who they are without fear. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can change the narrative from obedience to authenticity. Let us be the generation that breaks the cycle and paves the way for a future where everyone can shine brightly as their true selves. Are you with me? Let's go out there and make it happen.